Yesterday I posted this article on Bryce Harper's swing, which actually I thought was a very interesting article, and it was an interesting and fun read. However, there are a number of inaccuracies in the article, and as you would expect. I mean, this is a Washington Post article. It's not a technical journal. There are a number of inaccuracies in the article that I thought I would just point out, mostly because I think what is going to start to happen in baseball is probably a lot like what's happening in golf already. The more there is analysis of the swing mechanics, and the more that analysis relies on visual, which most of this is not motion capture, not 3D motion capture at high speed, but basically visual analysis of video or of just visually watching the swing. There are some really kind of obvious mistakes with which are going to create issues down the road as people start to look at the baseball swing in a more analytical way as they have been the golf swing for quite some time. So it'd be nice to avoid some of the pitfalls of golf by utilizing data more readily and having a better understanding of what's really going on. Lower body mechanics is a big part of the swing mechanism, regardless of what swing it is. And understanding lower body mechanics is absolutely crucial. Unfortunately, very misunderstood part of the equation. What I want to do real quick is just point out some of the obvious inaccuracies and kind of explain what's actually going on, so we have a better understanding of lower body dynamic. What you'll see here is you'll see this paragraph here is his torque in his hips, all that stuff, everything is always together. Obviously, that's just a hitting coach kind of talking about the aesthetics of the movement, but obviously you don't want everything moving together. You want things moving in coordination, and there's a big difference. You want segmental coordination to be occurring. You want mobility followed by stability, or acceleration followed by deceleration, intersegmental acceleration, deceleration, coordination. You don't want everything working together. So that's just, again, not everything working together. That's in a visual and aesthetic, it's not good information. The other thing that you'll see here, and I'm going to refer to this again in another part of the article, as he begins to bring his hands forward, he stiffens his right leg to create what Shu called leverage, using his front leg as a fulcrum to move force from his lower body to his upper body. All these actions happen simultaneously. Again, they don't happen simultaneously. And secondly, by time his leg stiffens in his swing, the lower body contribution to the power process, or the kinetic link, or the distal and acceleration coordination is over. So he's not using straightening of the left or the lead leg, in this case right leg, but he's not using stiffening of the lead leg to transfer force from the lower body to the upper body. That's already done. Let's take one more look at how this is basically kind of being misinterpreted a bit. There's a statement in here by Glenn Fleissig, Director of Biomechanics at ASMI, which talks about weight shift, and that most hitters have about 90% of their weight forward. He's talking about late in the swing or even at impact, and we have now 100% of his weight forward at contact and equal in the forward. But this is all good information. Now you're coming from a science background, but really has nothing to do with the lower body contributing to the power process, because the lower body contributes to the power process well before that. In fact, peak output of the lower body occurs almost instantaneously at foot contact. So let's do this. Let's pull up a slow motion video of Bryce actually hitting a home run, and let's talk about, as we move through this process, let's move it back just a little bit more, where the lower body is actually contributing to the power process. Okay, so let's watch this through. He's putting his foot down, not quite in contact yet. He is now right here starting to push effectively along the surface of the ground, creating horizontal force at that interface. Downward to create friction, horizontally to create shear. The back foot is also pressing against the ground, obviously downward as well as horizontally. It's the culmination or the coupling of these two forces that's going to then create this hip speed connection or this power connection from the lower body to the upper body. So where does Bryce use his legs and his lower body to drive the speed process? It's right here at foot contact or very shortly thereafter. So you might start that acceleration process and end that acceleration process that quickly. So the lower body has already done its thing by this point. It's now transferred that speed to the upper body, and the arms are well on their way to being accelerated in sequence so that the back can be released to the impact zone. So if we move them forward to where everyone's going gaga about this front leg, the arms have already reached their peak speed. The bat is actually accelerating to its peak speed. The lower body is, although capable of assisting in core bracing to allow the bat to fully release, it is not contributing rotational speed or rotational power to the equation at this point. So that stiff left leg really has nothing to do with his ability to transfer speed from his legs to his torso to the arm. That happened long before this was ever this part of the swing. So the fact that he's off his back foot really doesn't matter at this point as far as the power production. Now it does have ramification in terms of releasing the bat onto the ball and how that bat speed is applied to the ball, certainly. But it has very little, literally nothing to do with how he uses his lower body as a power source. Again, we back it up. This is occurring as he puts his foot down and presses hard, boom. Lower body contribution to power. This is lower body contribution to power, okay? Not the full extended knee at impact, okay? So there's a huge difference there. So what's hard about this is that you've got young hitters who see this, and you hear a bunch of, whether it be hitting coaches or the media talking about that straight lead leg and the straight lead leg through impact. And then what you get is a bunch of young kids trying to spin everything simultaneously with a straight leg and emphasizing the simultaneous turning of the body, everything working in unison, and a straight stiff front side, which really has nothing to do with power. If you look at the biomechanics, you'll see where his power comes from. And again, lower body contribution, strong legs, good ability to create, using fast twitch or using high rate of force development against the ground very quickly to develop a rotational force couple or torque occurs right here. And it's important to understand that. And then it happens in sequence. Lower body accelerates before the upper body. Upper body accelerates before the arms. Arms accelerate before the back. At that juncture, lower body passes speed or momentum along the chain to the upper body. At that juncture of acceleration, deceleration, again, passing speed to the arms, passing speed to the back. It happens in sequence, not simultaneously. And the process is essentially started at foot contact and really milliseconds after foot contact, not at impact with the straight front leg. So again, I love the article. It was a great read. It was fun to see. I love baseball starting to use technology, but I'd hate to see baseball go down the same path as golf and use aesthetics and misinformation to analyze swing and really kind of screw up the knowledge base of the swing mechanic. We'd like to see baseball evolve as they use the biomechanics, the technology, and the analytical approach to driving swing to learn from past mistakes of other sports and understand better the fundamental mechanics, the fundamental coordinations, and apply that information in a responsible way so that young athletes can develop good hitting mechanics rather than develop essentially dysfunctional patterns.